Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time today. And my name is Gary Fowler, and I'm the CEO, president, and founder of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley, Palo Alto, California. We believe that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. So today I have some incredible guests. I've got Wolfgang, Dr. WolfgangRams, and Enzo Cenci, and we're going to be talking about their company, Africa Green Tech, and how they empower people to achieve more self-determination and growth through more sustainable energy solutions. So with that, I'd like to bring them on board. Hey guys, how are you doing today?
Hey Gary.
Hi Gary, very good.
Good to see you. So tell me a little bit about it. So how do you, Wolfgang, how in the world you went to Duisburg, Essen. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but you went to there to T-Mobile. How in the world do you go from there, right? So T-Mobile, I mean, it's like you were in CRM. You got a doctorate. What was that like?
Well, this is about customer loyalty in the German telecommunication market. So it was in economics, but actually my background is I'm a telecommunication engineer, and how did I get to Africa Green Tech? I mean, when I was 16, I was even dreaming about becoming an entrepreneur, and I didn't know what to do first, economics or technology, and I did both. And so that brought me then in 1994 to T-Mobile as a telecommunications engineer. But then at the same time, while working for Africa Green Tech, I did my economics and my PhD in economics. Yeah, and since 2005, I'm in the startup space and setting up startups and investing into startups, these kind of things.
So you went down through it, and okay. So how in the world did you go to Polska Telefonia? How did that work out? Would you one day wake up and said, "Oh, I'm going to change. I'm going to do strategy for Polska"?
Deutsche Telekom, which is the mother company of T-Mobile, is a very big organization, and they asked me if I wanted to go to another country, and it ended up, and then I ended up in Warsaw. But it's a very nice country. I mean, there was a lot going on at that time, and telecommunication business was a very fast-growing business that time. And I was happy to be in that kind of business, but nevertheless, I decided to become self-employed and have my own startups, and I'm very happy with that because this brought me then to Africa Green Tech and to impact investment. And I started teaching entrepreneurship in 2014 at the university, and that's where I met Africa Green Tech in 2015 when I was performing an accelerator program for clean tech startups.
Sounds great. Okay, super. So, but how did you went to T Venture Holdings? How did that come up? You're doing all this stuff with Deutsche Telekom. Did you just was that another situation where you said, "Well, geez, I want to do investments"?
Yes, as I said, I was dreaming about becoming an entrepreneur and pushing startups forward, and being on the other side of the startups, of the sitting at on the side of the investors helped me a lot to understand what investors are looking at and helping to understand how a business plan has to look like. And but as I said, I wanted to sit on the other side.
Got it. Interesting. So Enzo, let's talk about it. So you go down through, as you're going down through university. I mean, you did marketing in the Chinese market. You went to ESCP in Europe for your master's degree. But how did you get down through? Are you originally from France? Is that where you're from originally, or where?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, I come from France, east of France. I arrived in Germany in 2018. I was still doing my master in finance in France, in Paris at ESCE, and then I did another master in sustainability. back then I wanted to work in the traditional finance, pure investment. I did an internship in a bank at Societe Generale, and then I realized that it was the traditional finance was not really for me, but I was still passionate about finance and the way how to finance bright projects. But and then I did this additional master at ESCP, as you mentioned, in sustainability entrepreneurship, and the goal was to combine finance, impact, and I ended up writing a master thesis about impact investing and how to mentor sustainable companies. And actually, while doing this master thesis, interviewing entrepreneurs in Germany, they mentioned Africa Green Tech 2 times, and I thought it was a sign, so I applied for Africa Green Tech, got an internship, and then continued the full-time job. So yeah, that's how I got at Africa Green Tech.
Well, interesting. Okay, so you went through the Feelings GmbH family-owned company. How did you go to that? I mean, how did you go to the railway stuff? Where did that come in?
Yeah, it's actually a very funny story that I like to tell to my friends here in Germany, because it's so Feelings GmbH is next to Düsseldorf, actually next to where Wolfgang is living, and so it was my first real experience in Germany. It was 2 months. End of my first year of university, I was 18. Spent 2 months in the Ruhrgebiet, as we say. It's the industrial region of Germany, in the east of Germany, and I spent 2 months there speaking German. And it was really, like typical internship that you do in a family company, meaning doing coffee and going to pick up the sandwiches, but also actually working as a
You're
purchase.
doing coffee and sandwiches?
I was going to pick up sandwiches, and then at some point I realized that they were trusting me, and then I started to do some proper calls and working on SAP. And this was the 2 first weeks, and then the rest of the time I was doing some real stuff, and it was really great. But coming from France with just 1 year of university, I was speaking German. Okay, I was not so bad, and then they trusted me. So it's always a fun experience to mention when people are asking me, but you only lived in Berlin, and I'm like, no, I also know what is real Germany, western part of it in the Ruhrgebiet, and the wonderful experience.
What's the difference, Enzo, between the real Germany and the Germany? What's the difference?
And Berlin, yeah. Well, I think the Berlin is. I think, and I think it's Wolfgang can confirm as a German. Berlin is not really Germany in the sense that you have a lot of different people from all over the world living in Berlin, and most of the people we all speak English between each other, and I think I would say that Germany in general is maybe sometimes more conservative, same as France. But the region where I did the internship is kind of the same region where I come from, very industrial, close to the border, so with some influences. I just think that Berlin is more open-minded and just different, just different, because so many different nationalities and international students, young workers work in Berlin, so makes it different. Yeah.
So you go to that, you go to the how in the world do you go to international marketing mission in the Chinese market? Okay, I get the France thing,
Yeah.
I get the German thing. Would you wake up and said, I really want to do Shanghai? I mean,
Yeah.
did you wake up and what was that all about? Were you
Uh,
bored or what?
yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. I haven't talked about that. Thanks for the question. Yeah, I mean, so in second year of university, we got offered the opportunity to do an international marketing mission in companies, but in France for international companies. It was kind of like helping companies to do some market entry research for their businesses. And I was just thinking, why doing a market entry strategy mission / marketing mission in France when I could have the opportunity to do it in China for a French company? And so I got connected to the managing director of this company working in Shanghai, and asked two of my friends, do you want to go to Shanghai with me to do this international mission? And we all went for 1-2 months. It was very intense. Was also very young at that time, but it was a real cultural shock. Yeah.
Interesting. So you did that, and then you went to Society Generale. You were doing relationship manager assistant, right? And so, if you look at your career as you're going down through it, I mean, you've got some wildly different. So you're doing clearing and offer for an FX exchange, right?
Yeah.
And so you did that. You went down through, and then you went Lenopolis in
Yes.
Paris, crowdfunding. So now another, twist sideways. So what happened? You just, said, well, I guess everything else, I'm going to try this for 6 months and see what happens with it.
Yeah. So as I was mentioning, it was right. So Societe Generale was right before the Master in Finance, and I still wanted to try it out and see how is the banking world. And Societe Generale is really big, and I got this internship in cash clearing services. So I was working on cash clearing offers for big clients in Africa, actually. So we had, I don't know, dozens and dozens of clients in Africa, and I was working with the financial, with the trading rooms, working on forex contract, etc. And it was great. I had a great boss, learned a lot. It was really tough, but I realized that I don't want to wear a suit every day and be in this banking world. Especially working in the towers at La Défense in Société Générale brings you straight in the banking world in the movies. But still, again, focus on finance. So I did this internship at the end of the Master in Finance at Lendopolis in crowd lending, and we were financing solar parks in France. So financing the French energy transition. And since that day, I never really left sustainable investing. So yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so how did you two come together? So you're the finance manager of Africa Green Tech. So Wolfgang is the co-founder and CFO. What, did you both have love of numbers, or what happened? How did you come together on this thing? Did you meet at a coffee shop one day, or was it online? Where did you meet?
Well, I think Enzo just applied for a job, and he had this internship, and we liked how he did his job, and he's a very professional guy, and we were really happy to keep him on board, and happy that he is in my team.
That's fantastic. So let's talk about it. So as you're going down through and looking at these sustainable solutions, you say you're taking electricity further and developing a very holistic approach for sustainable power production. But how did you come up with this idea? And what does it really mean? How is it going to impact, and where do you see it going?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think when we want to understand why Africa Green Tech exists, we really have to understand the story of Thorsten and Aida Schreiber. Aida grew up in Mali, and she's married with Thorsten. They both live in Germany, and in 2014 it was, Thorsten met his relatives in Mali, and before that he was working for a company called Bettervest that was a platform to finance energy efficiency projects, and so projects where you just exchange lamps into LED to save CO2. And then when he visited his relatives in Mali, he stood in a power plant where they burn like 40,000 liters of diesel every week for the city of Bamako, and he said, "What is this kind of bullshit?"
So they burn
40,000 liters of diesel every week.
For the electricity?
For the electricity.
What's wrong with that picture? You know what I mean? It's like, I hear that a lot, right? Because they talk about electric cars, but they're burning fuel to do electric cars. And how can it, it sounds like it's diametrically opposed, right? You're trying to make it clean, you make it dirty before you make it clean.
Yes, that's true. If you see the huge demand that the people in Africa have for energy, if you think if they would produce all the electricity based on burning diesel, our CO2 would go through the roof. In 2030, 40% of the people on this planet will live in Africa. So you see how important it is to enable them to grow their business without burning diesel. And therefore, they are still lacking electricity. And the thing is, when you really want to reduce CO2 emission, you have to solve the issues also in Africa. And that was the mission that drove Thorsten and Aida to found Africa Green Tech.
And so if you look at it right now, what is the current state in Africa of energy production, and what kind of an impact can the two of you have on this? What do you see?
Mm-hmm. Well, I can say that we started in Mali, one of the most complicated countries where you can do business, but we made it there.
Why is it complicated, Wolfgang?
Pardon?
Why is it complicated?
Well, I mean, that the French and the German military was present there, and now the Russians are there, and many conflicts, and people are very poor. But I can say that they pray for electricity. So it's and that was my personal experience when I was in Mali. I really saw. I've seen so many startups in my life. I was coaching many startups. I founded several startups, but I've never seen any business in my life where customers pray for the product, which was the case with Africa Green Tech. So there's a huge demand, but still, when you need investors, they say, "Why do you invest your money into Mali? Aren't there easier countries?" Yes, there are easier countries. But if you are aiming for impact, Mali is the best place where you can go, and that's why we started there. But now we are in Senegal, Niger, Madagascar, and other countries, also in East and South Africa. But we are mostly driven by impact. But the main thing is you can't even earn money with impact. We'll come to that later if you
got it. So tell me, if you look at it, what do you see over the next year, over the next 2 years in terms of Africa Green Tech? So what's your prognosis for what's going to happen?
Well, we have a huge pipeline of villages. We have even C&I, commercial and industrial customers that came to us saying, we are still burning diesel. Can you just transfer our organization from diesel into solar? So we have contracts signed now, and now we are aiming to get this financed. And and then when we manage to find the funds, I think we will go through the roof. The demand is huge, I can say that. And the continent is huge. And we have 130 people employed, 100 in Africa. Thorsten and Aida, they moved to Dakar or to Senegal. And we are there. Africa is coming, and we are the forefront of that development. Yeah.
And so how much money are you raising in this round?
Well, right now we are searching for 15 to 20 million US dollars in our Series B. We also have set up a fund where we collect 60 million US dollars. And that's it. These are the rough numbers.
To the investors out there, I mean, we want to make a dent in the universe. Africa Green Tech, surely a good place to make that dent. What we want to do is democratize opportunity. It's interesting you say, Wolfgang, that people are crying for electricity. That's something, I mean, what we hear from the Ukraine today, what we hear from other places around the world is that, we don't understand what we have until we don't have it. And
that's true. But let me also share some numbers about how to make money out of this, because this is a question that everybody is asking. I mean, and imagine you are living in in a village and I'm a welder. Right now, you're using a diesel generator and you have 2 hours electricity, then your diesel can is empty. You stop working. In our case, he has every day 8 hours electricity. He's 4 times more productive. 4 times. I've never seen any business before where you can increase the income of your customers times 4. Yeah. And this is creating money, this is creating income, and we get something back from this value that we create.
Got it. And so what about other parts of the world? Are you going to focus just on Africa? Or are you going to go to other parts of the world? Where is this going to go?
Well, actually, we have Africa in our brand name, but as you can imagine, we are approached by even people from Asia, even Vanuatu or Papua New Guinea, Australia, South America. There is a huge demand, but of course, we have to be careful with our growth speed.
Yeah, but you always want to make sure that you're managing the right kind of growth. Anything for you to add, Enzo?
I actually, speaking, I think to come back also on the question of Africa regarding renewable energies. In the last 20 years, Africa received only 2% of all the money that has been sent to finance renewable energy projects. So there is a lot to do, and also to come back on the impact investing side, as it's so this is how we finance ourselves and how we want to push it forward. There are 3 pillars in Africa for impact investing. The first one is obviously healthcare. That attracts a lot of investment. The second one, fintechs. I think we have a lot of example in East Africa, especially in Nigeria, in Western Africa, especially in Nigeria, with bright fintech project. And the third one is renewable energies. So why? Because 600 million people don't have access to electricity. And I was just reading the report of the COP27 and how they speak about Africa, and with some numbers from the World Economic Forum, where they say that to bridge the Africa energy gap, by 2040, we would need $120 billion per year to bridge this gap. So I think we have the chance to be part of the pioneers, as Wolfgang mentioned, and we have luckily already a technology that works and that is ready to be implemented in the countries we are already operating in. So it's just about now to receive the funds that are meant to be received by the energy provider. Yes.
Got it. So we're coming up to the top of the hour. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you, and any closing thoughts? So if there are investors out there, partners, what's the best way to get a hold of you, and what are the closing thoughts? Wolfgang?
Yeah, give us a call or write us an email. We have several options to invest. I mean, we mentioned already our Series B of 15 or 20 million US dollars. We have mentioned the fund, but we can also offer investments into concrete projects or villages. We have also corporations with huge NGOs. There you have a customer who is really able to pay the invoices. You can say, okay, I want to invest into one single village and go there, meet the people there, and see how it goes. You can visit the sites. But right now, our highest priority is the Series B, in order to get all the projects that we have in the pipeline done. That's the main focus right now.
So what's your email address? You said email address. Can you give it to the audience?
Yes, it's wr@africagreentech.com. You're writing it, Enzo?
Yeah.
wr@africagreentech.com. That's fantastic. So listen, I want to thank both of you for coming to the show today. I appreciate it. And to all my audience out there, take a look at Africa Green Tech. They're raising a Series B, $15 to $20 million. Good people, good guys, and they're making a little dent in the universe. In fact, a big dent. We all have to go out there and democratize the opportunity. Again, thanks for joining the show. And to each of you out there, my name is Gary Fowler, and I'm the host of GSD Presents, Silicon Valley AI and Tech. Tune in for another exciting edition next Tuesday. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, everybody.